Hello, and welcome to this episode of the K&Co Tech Podcast. I'm your host, Shelley Kramer, Principal Analyst here at Kramer & Company, and I'm joined today by Brooke Cunningham, who's the Chief Marketing Officer at LogicMonitor. Brooke, welcome. I'm so glad to have you.
Oh, thank you so much, Shelley. I am so thrilled to be here, and it's always wonderful when you and I get to connect.
Well, I agree, and we don't do it often enough, but we'll remedy that, won't we? So today we are going to talk about how embracing a customer-centric approach is really a massive differentiator for organizations today. And we're going to take a look at how LogicMonitor is embracing and leveraging its passion for customers to drive success. We're also going to get some insights from LogicMonitor's recent Elevate Community Conference North America, which took place in Dallas just a few weeks ago. So Brooke, are you ready to get started?
I sure am.
Excellent. So let's kick off this conversation with my favorite thing. It's my question about kind of your career backstory, career journey. Tell us a little bit. I know you've been on board for about a year now, but what brought you to LogicMonitor and what continues to inspire your work as a CMO?
Oh, thank you. Yes, I actually just celebrated my 1-year anniversary at LogicMonitor last week. So that was very exciting. And I actually grew up in the software space. I started my career in B2B software way back in 1998 in Vancouver, Canada, where I grew up, working for Seagate Software, for anybody that was in the reporting and analytics space, the makers of Crystal Reports, giving you a throwback. And then I really spent my whole career in data-related B2B software, and specifically also in spaces like observability. So fast forward to me joining LogicMonitor a year ago, and this was a space I knew and loved. And in my career, it's really the people that make such a difference. And when I say the people, it's the employees and the leadership team. It's the customers that you get to work with. It's the partners that you do business with. And really here at LogicMonitor, all those things were true. And so just a phenomenal leadership team, which also happens to be over 60% female, really, really great talent that we've attracted here, and amazing customers, which we're of course going to be talking about a lot here today. And I love working with and through partners, which I had done for a large part of my career. And it's a huge part of our go-to-market here at LogicMonitor. Nearly 80% of our business is touched by partners in different types and shapes and forms. And then of course the technology. We have a uniquely differentiated product in the observability and AIOps space, and we'll talk a lot more about that. But all the things that brought me here are still true today, and I can't wait to tell you all the great details of the things we've been doing.
Yeah, well, it sounds like this has been a perfect fit for you, which is what you always hope when you take the leap into a new job. And I will say that we chatted about this before we hopped on to record, but I live in Kansas City, Missouri. Your CEO, Christina Kosmowski, is a fellow Kansas City girl, and she actually went to the same all-girls high school that my twins just graduated from a year ago. So we have a lot in common. I always enjoy my conversations with Christina, but the nod to what it is you're doing and the huge amount of females on your leadership team is wonderful, especially in the tech space. I love hearing that.
Yeah, it is. And love that Kansas City connection. That's
Kansas City connection. That's right. Well, I've been covering LogicMonitor for a while now, but I'd love for you to give us a quick overview, if you would, of what the LogicMonitor platform is and some insights about that customer base that you serve.
Yeah, absolutely. So at LogicMonitor, we're focused on leading the AI-powered data center transformation, which is really a lot of the trends that we're seeing now with all of the rapid adoption of Gen AI. And I'll specifically talk to where our LogicMonitor SaaS-based platform, which is called Envision, how it leads in the observability and AI space. And really, our core mission is to serve the CIOs. It's really at the center of everything we do. We are the trusted strategic partner to the CIO, and we are here to help CIOs around the world, from companies of all types and sizes, to build resilient and scalable businesses. And now that we see this rapid adoption of AI, we have this whole new challenge that we see our CIOs facing, and they are, having all of this new technology that they need to adopt. And we're seeing modern data centers that are spanning all of the edge devices. We've got on-premises servers and all this old on-premises infrastructure that still exists, as
Right.
well as the cloud, and in fact, multi-cloud. And that's where we are particularly differentiated, is supporting those broad, complex environments that span all of those things I just mentioned.
Yeah.
And we're really here to help drive that transformation for CIOs.
Yeah.
So that's really what we're focused on. So it's predicting failures, providing actionable insights. We want to help provide that single pane of glass into that complex infrastructure, on-prem, cloud, and edge. And the other piece is not just the CIO themselves, but their entire teams, is to really help them be the heroes. We want them to be empowered to be the change agents in their organizations. And with agentic AIOps, we can really help them be one step ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think that, the way that I've always thought about sort of the LogicMonitor way is that we meet you, our customers, where you are.
Yeah.
And, it's not just all cloud, and recognizing that everybody has a different set of circumstances that they're dealing with. Most people have some legacy infrastructure that they need to work around and that sort of thing. And transformation is a journey. So being able to meet customers where they are and understand their unique needs I think it's an important part of what LogicMonitor brings to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can just speak on who those customers are, since I didn't answer that part of your first question.
Yeah.
So we're servicing over 2,300 customers around the globe. Over 700 managed service providers are a big segment of our customer. And across all of that, it's more than 100,000 users that are trusting the LogicMonitor and Vision platform. And we have customers across all vertical industries. And so we've got a lot of pharmaceutical and healthcare companies, Johnson & Johnson, Siemens Healthcare. We've got a lot in the hospitality and restaurant space, IHG hotels, McDonald's restaurants. And we have a lot actually in the university and state government, universities like LSU and UC Davis. And so many of the challenges that all of these customers are solving may be different by industry, but they typically are really providing the ability to deliver on their mission that they have for their customers. And we have some great stories that we share to Elevate that I can tell you more about, but that's really at the heart of what we do.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. Well, you touched on this a minute ago, but we cannot have a conversation today without talking about AI in general and agentic AI in particular. So talk with me a little bit, if you would, about some of what LogicMonitor is doing on that front.
Yeah, so last year, almost a year ago now, we launched our Edwin AI product, which it augments the AI that we already had built into our LogicMonitor and Vision platform. So we came from a background of having machine learning already built into our platform, and we further innovated and developed the Edwin AI product. And we're really leading in the agentic AI space from the overall observability category. And we have customers in production that are already seeing amazing value from Edwin. And think about Edwin as like your super IT ops teammate that you can interact with and can really help with preventing those outages, finding root cause, remediation, and even taking action. And we just had at our Elevate conference some phenomenal results that our customers were showcasing with the rest of the community that were there with us.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. Edwin is amazing. I absolutely love all of the things you're doing with Edwin. So very, very cool. So you talked a little bit about some of your customer base, and I know it's very varied. So let's talk a little bit about, is there a certain kind of a team or organization that benefits the most from LogicMonitor solutions? And I ask this question knowing, for instance, the QSR category, restaurants. I know you've got some customers that have hundreds and hundreds of locations all over. And I think that from an observability standpoint, there's some value there that this kind of an organization especially gets from the LogicMonitor platform. Will you touch on that for me just a little bit about, what an ideal customer looks like in some, and again, I know that your customers span many industries and many use cases, but I'd love to know a little bit more about, those kinds of organizations in particular that really benefit from LogicMonitor solutions.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can give you an overview of where we're uniquely differentiated, and then give an example of a customer. And I'll use McDonald's since you referenced the customer restaurant scenario. So, some of what sets LogicMonitor apart is our ability to monitor these complex IT environments. So we are uniquely differentiated when there are on-premises infrastructure. So think about the networks and the servers, et cetera.
Right.
Cloud, and specifically multi-cloud. So we have the ability to monitor through a single pane of glass. Could be AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud, as well as the devices. So LogicMonitor can monitor anything with an IP address. So if you think about customers that have all of these things in their environment, and they need to ensure that all these things are running smoothly and working together to deliver on their customer experience, that's where we're uniquely differentiated. We also have the best in class coverage when it comes to out of the box integrations, being able to get customers up and running very quickly. So we have unparalleled time to value, and we have all of this data that we bring together in the LogicMonitor platform. So things like metrics, logs, events, traces, all coming into the platform. And then we can tie those business insights into actionable outcomes for the customer. So just to give the example from the McDonald's standpoint, so you mentioned hundreds or thousands of restaurants. We have 40,000 McDonald's restaurants that we are monitoring globally. And what LogicMonitor is doing, if you think of it from an end customer point of view, if you're going into a McDonald's restaurant and you're going to order at one of those consoles that are now in all the restaurants, that has an IP address, and that needs to be monitored. So to ensure that LogicMonitor is ensuring that we as the end customer have that seamless experience, that we can get in, get out, get the hot food fast when we go in. And this was a huge challenge that McDonald's had. They didn't have visibility across all their different restaurants into the networks and the systems.
Right.
They were having outages, which was causing, customers coming into the restaurant not being able to make orders. They had so many different tools that they were using, and they were not connected. It was causing all these silos, and they were having all these migration challenges that they were moving to the cloud, and they had all these other digital channels like the app that were having uptime challenges. So they selected LogicMonitor, and part of our differentiated value was because we could do all those things with their network. They were on an AWS cloud that they needed that to be up and running at all times, that we could help them filter their insights, that they had dashboards where they could be viewing everything in one place. They had the ability for thresholds, dynamic thresholds to be set so that they knew if things were getting close to an outage that they could be mitigating that. Yeah. And ultimately, it was all about the customer experience. So we're monitoring over 400,000 devices across those 40,000 restaurants. And it's just been one of our just most phenomenal customer successes. And it's really exciting to see it at size and scale around the globe like that.
Well, that's why I pointed this out, because again, I have the advantage of knowing more about LogicMonitor's value prop than the ordinary average individual. But like that alone, that ecosystem, and being able to provide that single pane of glass, that clarity, all of that for a customer like McDonald's, I mean, that's really huge. And I think that is demonstrative of just what your capabilities are in a big way. And so I love that story. Thanks for indulging me.
Thank you.
So, the observability space is crowded. Okay. And I know that you've got some understandable bias here, and you've touched on some of the differentiators, but I know there's some other things like, the ability to deploy super quickly and being able to help shorten time to value. Tell me, if you would, a little bit more, what other kind of value drivers that customers can expect when they're partnering with LogicMonitor?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, a lot of what we see why customers select LogicMonitor is some of the things I mentioned around the breadth of coverage, those out of
Right.
the box integrations. We have collectors that are part of what gives us the ability to provide our customers such fast time to value. So a lot of other more legacy observability tools, there's a lot of setup time, there's a lot of manual work from the teams that are required. And we have what's known as an agentless collector technology that allows that to get brought in virtually automatically. And our customers tell us that they, in some cases, are seeing value almost instantly. And because of the power of the platform and how many events, logs, traces, and metrics that we're processing, we have so much insight that is giving better correlated out predictions and alerts for our customers as compared to the competitors.
Awesome.
And then more recently, I would say our AI capability, Edwin, has really set us apart. And that's another piece where we've just seen some phenomenally fast customer results. We have one customer, Syngenta, which is a global company in the food and agriculture space. And they were already a LogicMonitor customer. So they had all of the data that they're monitoring through the LogicMonitor and Vision platform. And then they opted into leverage Edwin, and they actually said that within 1 hour, they were actually correlating data and it was delivering value. Like it was catching things that then they were able to offload from their level 1 support teams, because now Edwin was able to actually elevate those actions and take an agent approach to taking action instead of a human. So that was one really exciting example. And we're seeing more and more as our customers are quickly rushing to adopt Edwin.
Yeah. Well, within 1 hour, it is not too shabby of a result.
Exactly. We were thrilled. We didn't even anticipate it was going to be that fast. I mean, it was really impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I mentioned Elevate 2025, your flagship community conference. It just took place a few weeks ago in Dallas. Why is this an important event for the LogicMonitor ecosystem? And what makes this event different than other tech conferences?
Yeah, so we had Elevate just at the end of April in Dallas, as you mentioned, and that one was really focused on our Americas contingent of the community. And then we will be hosting 2 more to reach all of our great community in the APAC region at the end of May, and then in Europe at the end of June. And it was really special to me to really bring this event to life again. And the reason being is that we hadn't consistently had an in-person event for the entire community in a number of years. So we had done some virtual ones, and we've done some smaller ones in certain regions. But this year, we're really taking that global approach. And part of what I think makes it fun and special is, when we say community, we're really inclusive of everyone. So,
well, analysts and partners and customers and probably prospective customers. Yeah.
We had prospects come, and we even had some individuals that shared that they were interns and they were using it as an opportunity to continue to learn about the space. And so I find that really rewarding. It really is about the power of the community, bringing everyone together. And as I was sharing earlier about, how we're thinking about our customer community and in particular is really helping them be the heroes in their organization. So that was the focus and the approach of what we took. And there was a lot of listening so that we could get feedback about all the things that we were sharing, whether that was the training and development element of the event, whether it was showcasing what was on the roadmap, and also having the opportunity to hear real feedback about the use cases and capture customer stories. We had a lot of fun with a video recording studio and some roving reporters, and it was a really energetic couple days, and it was really, really great to see the connections that people were making there.
Well, I am so sorry that I missed it, which is one of the reasons that led to this conversation, because I knew I couldn't be there in person, but I could vicariously experiencing it by way of this conversation. So thanks for indulging me on that front. So talk with me a little bit about, what were there some major themes that stood out to you across the sessions and the keynotes of this year's Elevate event? Anything that just really, really stuck with you?
There was a couple. So let's go back to the CIO, because that was one where I had the opportunity. We had a partner day where we brought together our partner community to talk about the trends that they're seeing, and then also for me the opportunity to have roundtables with the analyst community, as well as the executives in our customer accounts. And some of the themes that I really am hearing from more of the executive lens is this dichotomy that we're in. So many, especially if you're a CIO of one of our large customers, they're just grappling with such a dichotomy of legacy technology, as well as now having this AI trend, that let's call it, that is now like a mandatory assignment.
It's not a trend, it's a mandate.
Yeah, exactly. Their CEOs, their boards of directors. I mean, I personally know that even in our own, board meetings, how are we adopting Gen AI? How are we leveraging it for productivity? Where are we seeing the gains? So there's, this need to adopt the latest and greatest and lean in on the innovation, and also differentiate between what's real and what's kind of the buzz, while also grappling with infrastructure that's over 30 years old. I mean, I have conversations with CIOs all the time where this is the exact quandary that they're in. They're trying to modernize all these old on-premises infrastructures, and on-premises is not going away. Hybrid is here to stay. They're moving some things to the cloud, or have moved some to the cloud, but they know they've got to balance. Now we have Gen AI. Gen AI is sucking a ton of power, and they're trying to think about cost optimization, which is something that LogicMonitor can also help them with, the cloud computing costs. So they're sometimes refactoring workloads back to the on-premises. And so all of these challenges that they're facing, it's a lot to rationalize, prioritize, and ultimately they're drivers of major business transformations for their organizations. So that was one trend. It was really validating to hear what they're grappling with, because it's very much what we're here to help solve, and where we can continue to be, the partner to the CIO and be those partners in their transformation. And then on the practitioner side, it was really the kind of aha moment for me was how people were so enthused and grateful to have the time to come together and share with one another, that they were really feeling, many of them in their roles, they're in these IT roles. They don't always get to get out to a lot of events. They don't always get to get hands-on with other people that are doing the same job as them. And the feeling of like, I feel seen, I'm with my people, I feel this warmth of a community that is here to help me. And for us to be able to share more ways and places that they can stay connected through, like the LogicMonitor community, or more of the events that we're doing with our user groups, the palpable enthusiasm for more of what we were putting together with the Elevate event was encouraging, and it really gave me the reinforcement that we're doing all the right things to help our IT ops heroes to do their best work, and also to share it with each other so that they can help continue to share the good things that they're learning, and benefit from the strength of the community.
Yeah. Well, I do have to say, as an analyst, of course, I'm at events all the time, and it's keynote after keynote after panel discussion after, these are all the great things we're doing, and all of that is important information. But without question, at every single event I attend, the best parts and the things that the experiences that I personally get the most out of are those conversations where you have the opportunity to listen to customers and to hear this was the challenge that I had. This is what I had to solve for. And this is the reality of what my team looked like. And, and a lot of times they're working with lean teams and to be able to listen to their journey and how they were able to use technology to address the challenges that they had. And, and nothing, I also spent 25 years as a marketing brand strategist. You're a CMO. Marketing is amazing, but and it's an important part of success overall, but putting the spin and the marketing aside and really being able to get to the heart of real conversations with real people, sharing those real stories about how these particular solutions were a game changer. Those are the things that I always find the most valuable. And I know that other attendees do as well.
Yeah, you're spot on, Shelley. And one of the things I always say, because, being that my whole career has been in B2B data related software, I've been working in the environment of marketing to the IT ops teams, the CIO. Yeah. And I always say it's a quote I say to my teams all the time is that, real knows real. IT folks don't want the marketing buzz. They want the real. Right. So it's important to speak authentically and creating event experiences that are authentic, that bring them together with their people, like they're like-minded folks that are doing the jobs just like them, where they can share. You're so right on. It's got to be authentic and not just the marketing.
Your marketing messaging. Yeah. And again, I'm a big fan of marketing. I mean, I spent a lot of my life helping craft messaging and fine-tune messaging and all that sort of thing. But it is that the no BS, real human to human interaction. And this is my story. These are my challenges. This is how I solve them. I mean, that is what people are really, really dying for. And so I always love events that deliver on that front. And I know that you and the team did a great job there.
Thank you.
So, one of the things that I like most about industry events and, is beyond hearing these real stories is that they help us collectively keep a finger on the pulse of what's happening across the industry and what trends are emerging and how customer needs are evolving. Were there many big insights or kind of aha moments that you heard directly from customers and community during the week of Elevate?
Yeah, I guess some that were additional aha moments was, as I shared earlier, we've had some amazing adoption of our agentic AI product, Edwin AI, by a lot of our customers. And I was enthused to hear more people are very open to testing and trying agentic AI. I was interested to see if there would be perhaps some people that were still a little reluctant or nervous about what that might mean. So for example, in this space, there's a lot of agentic AI tools that are starting to come on the market, and there can understandably be some trepidation by individuals doing certain jobs that may feel like perhaps that is going to be putting at risk some of the work that they're currently doing. But instead, I actually saw so much enthusiasm and a lot of people leaning into wanting to learn more, try it, see it. And really the takeaway was there was a level of understanding that what the intention and the goal with a lot of this new innovation in agentic AI was actually to reduce the work that nobody really wants to do. No one wants woken up in the middle of the night because the servers went down. And instead, it was going to allow people, the IT ops practitioner, someone that's working in the NOC or the IT ops SRE team, that instead of doing the painful work where they're just like visually trying to go through all these alerts, that there would be this, ability to reduce that manual, not fun work for anyone that was, getting in the way of them doing more interesting and strategic work. So the enthusiasm was a great aha for me that got so many people excited to adopt Edwin AI, especially having seen the customers that have already adopted, and that there was less trepidation that I thought there might be from some people.
I love that. I think that's great. That's what you want, right? That's awesome. Well, I am so sad that I had to miss this year's event, but with this conversation, I feel like I was there in spirit, and while I didn't get to have a firsthand experience, you've done a great job of, painting a picture of those key talking points and the insights and the customer feedback and that sort of thing. What I want to know, is there a place that people who like weren't able to attend, or even if you were able to attend and you want, sort of a refresher on some of the information that was shared, is there a place that people can go to access recordings from the event?
Yes, very soon we're going to have the recording. So logicmonitor.com/elevate. And we have our upcoming event May 29th in Sydney. So for those of you that may be listening in the APAC region, you're most welcome to join us. And June 25th in London, for anybody in Europe that might be listening in, you're very welcome to join us. And we'll be posting recordings, both hands-on breakouts as well as keynotes. One highlight in the keynote, we had an amazing customer story from McKesson, who I think global brand that people would know for pharmaceuticals. And they've just had an amazing success story with LogicMonitor. And that was our special keynote that was delivered by Andrea Curry, who is the director of observability. Shelley, you met her.
I'm sitting here listening to this. And the minute you said McKesson, I'm like, that was Andrea.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And I am here to tell you that she is the most amazing, insightful, great human being. She's a wonderful speaker. She's so down to earth, and her whole journey, in her role at McKesson, but also using LogicMonitor solutions. Oh my gosh, she's my favorite.
Yeah. So that's one great story not to be missed. They migrated 30,000 infrastructure devices to LogicMonitor within a year. It was a massive tool consolidation. And she told the whole story. And yeah, she's a phenomenal speaker. She got laughs. She brought the data. She had style. I mean, she was the whole package.
She brings it all the time. I love her. She's so awesome. Well, I will put to our viewers and listeners, I will put links to the recording page. I'll be sure and include the dates to the upcoming events in EMEA and APAC so that you won't have to dig around for those. And with that, Brooke Cunningham, CMO of LogicMonitor, thank you so much for making time for me today. I always love hearing what the team at LogicMonitor is up to. And it's obvious that Elevate Community Conference is definitely one to put on your calendar for next year.
Yes, thank you. And it was such a pleasure, Shelley. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, it's great to see that LogicMonitor is not only innovating at a rapid pace, but equally as important, you are so focused on helping customers thrive in a complex world. And I think less complexity, more impact, and a quicker path to forward progress is exactly what customers need today. So I look forward to keeping an eye on the things that you and the LogicMonitor team are doing. And thank you again for joining me. And we will talk again soon, my friend.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. To our viewing and listening audience, this is Shelley Kramer. You've been watching or listening to the K&Co Tech Podcast with my guest, Brooke Cunningham, CMO of LogicMonitor, and we'll see you here next time.